Good morning. My name's Captain Ed Hassing. We've gathered here today to provide some updated information on the case of Roa Al-Dahoun, who was reported missing to the Lakewood Police Department on October 19th, 2016. Since that date, the Lakewood Police Department, with the unprecedented assistance of the FBI, the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office, the County Sheriff's Office, the Medical Examiner's Office, and other law enforcement assets, have continued to work on this case with the hopes of locating Ms. Dahoun. Today there are representatives here from the FBI, the County Prosecutor's Office, and the County Sheriff's Office. The location of suspected human remains on May 15th in the city of Brooklyn, which were positively identified yesterday as Ms. Dahoun by the County Medical Examiner's Office, and other significant developments have moved this case forward. At this time, I'd like to introduce Prosecutor O'Malley, who will continue with this briefing.
Thank you. Good morning. First and foremost, let me offer my condolences and the condolences of all of our law enforcement partners to the family of Roa Al-Dahoun. Tragically, this case did not end as we all had hoped. And again, our prayers go out to her family. Let me start out by thanking the law enforcement partners who are present here today, who worked tirelessly to bring this case to a resolution. First and foremost, the Lakewood Police Department and their Detective Bureau, who continue to work daily, following up every lead, and they made countless efforts in trying to resolve this case. They've reached out to the FBI. Our partners from federal law enforcement assisted in this effort, both locally and internationally, as we sought to bring this case to a conclusion. Our friends from the County Sheriff's Department, who also worked tirelessly with our task force partners in trying to work to bring this case again to a resolution. And finally, let me thank the three members of my staff who assisted these law enforcement partners in bringing this case to closure. This morning, the Cuyahoga County Grand Jury indicted Mr. Saeed on 15 counts, including multiple counts of aggravated murder, and kidnapping, punishable by up to life without parole. We continue, and our Capital Review Committee will determine whether we seek capital charges in this particular case. But again, he has currently been indicted on 15 counts that can lead to a sentence of up to life without parole. Again, this work was done, and this case was solved through the countless and tireless effort of our partners. And again, my thanks go out to them. And next. But I want to thank our partners.
My name is Mike Pinto. I'm the new supervisor for the FBI's Violent Crimes Task Force. Lakewood Police Department requested the FBI's assistance in regards to the suspicious disappearance of Roa Al-Dahoun in October. The FBI is able to bring numerous resources in an investigation, to include investigative personnel, the ability to easily follow up on information in other states and out of the country, both applied to this investigation, and ultimately our evidence response team was involved and other investigative methods throughout the investigation that we do not wish to discuss publicly. The well-established corroboration with Lakewood Police Department and the agencies represented on our task force, to include the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Office, is invaluable when investigations like this occur. Numerous tips and leads were developed over the 7 months Roa was missing. We want to take this opportunity to thank the media and the public for their assistance in bringing public awareness and providing information. While this is obviously not the outcome we hope for, Roa's family and friends now have answers, and the person responsible for this horrific crime is being held accountable. Thank you. We'll now open up to questions.
Is Mr. Saeed in custody right now?
Yeah, he's currently being held in Cuyahoga County Jail. He was serving a sentence on a prior conviction for violating a temporary protection order.
Can you describe how she was killed?
The county coroner's office has ruled it a homicide, but the manner has not been ruled on yet.
Has your investigation led you to believe that how she was killed?
No, not at this time.
Can you describe the status of her remains? Was it a body? What did you find, and in what manner was it? I understand it was in the ground.
I wasn't there. Yeah, go ahead.
You know, at this particular time, we're not going to get into the state of the findings of her remains, but you know, it was a tragic situation. Again, it was through the hard work of law enforcement that we recovered those remains. But I don't think at this time it's appropriate to discuss, you know, the actual state of the remains.
What led you to the remains?
Diligent work of law enforcement.
Was there a tip from someone?
You know, the investigation of this matter continues, and I don't think it would be appropriate to discuss, but I can just tell you that law enforcement has continued throughout the last 7 months to continue to search different areas where we had thought there was a possibility that the remains would be found, but it was just through diligent work that they were located, and we're thankful that they were.
Could you tell us what nationality she was from, and did she have any relative here other than the husband?
My understanding is that Roa was from Iraq. She has a son that she left who's currently 4 years old. Part of the tragedy of this entire situation, so she has a 4-year-old son who remains in the Cleveland area. And both of her parents are overseas, and they have been notified, and that's the status.
Now, where is the child going to be now?
Well, I don't want to get into the child is in protective custody. I don't want to get into any further details, but the discussions are being had with the family as to the permanent location of the child.
One more question, just follow up. Was she a refugee to get here to this country, or?
You know, I don't have the details of her status within the United States, but my understanding is she was from Iraq, and you know, the Iraq community also mourns her loss.
Do you believe Saeed acted alone?
We can't get into any details.
How is Amar Sami connected to this?
Do you mean the individual who's already pled to the obstruction?
Yes.
Obviously, we believe he had more facts and he actually what he has pled to is lying as to his whereabouts. I believe that particular evening where we believe Roe went, and that's the charge he's already pled to, and he will be sentenced, I believe, next week on his conviction for obstruction.
Was he with Saeed that night?
We don't want to get into details at this time.
Do you believe that Sami played a role in the murder?
Again, an indictment's been issued, but we don't want to get into details of the actual case at this time.
Is there a chance he'll face more charges, or?
Well, again, the case continues under investigation. You know, we felt it was imperative that we quickly indict Mr. Saeed, but the investigation continues, and as it continues, you know, we'll see where the road takes us.
Were the remains in a box, or were they buried in a?
I don't want to get into the actual state. Obviously, as everyone in this room knows, she was buried at the location off Memphis Avenue in the city of Brooklyn, and I don't want to get into any further details.